The following marketing information and discussion is provided for informational purposes only. It is not intended to be used as professional guidance or consultancy. You should find an agency for that. Comexis is a digital marketing agency, so feel free to hire us. But otherwise, just enjoy the show.
Hello everyone, welcome to The Buyer's Journey by Comexis, a discussion-based podcast on the ever-changing marketing landscape. I'm Matthew McGordy, the social media content producer here at Comexis.
I am Len Ward, the managing partner at Comexis.
And I'm Josh Lyons, the digital marketing coordinator here at Comexis.
So all this week, and well, not all this week, but the last couple episodes we've been talking about the different Quarter 2 2019 earnings calls for a variety of the platforms and tools that we use as marketing agencies and advertisers, and sort of seeing how they're doing, and we're having big discussions about them. And today we are talking about Amazon's Quarter 2 earnings call. So I'm just going to hop right into the numbers. Again, this is from CNBC's Eugene Kim. It'll be linked, his piece will be linked in the podcast description. Should definitely check it out. Great stuff. So the EPS was $5.22 versus $5.57. This is according to analysts surveyed by Refinitiv. Revenue was $63.4 billion versus $62.5 billion, again, according to Refinitiv. And Amazon Web Services had I want to say 800. It's not 800. $8.38 billion versus $8.5 billion, according to analysts surveyed by FactSet. So Amazon's revenue jumped 20% from the year ago, a rebound from 16.8% in the first quarter, which was the slowest in 4 years. The recovery follows, as Eugene Kim mentions, Amazon's pledge to spend $800 million in the second quarter, improving warehouses and delivery infrastructure as part of a plan to make one-day shipping the standard for Prime members. We've talked a lot about this on multiple different podcasts, on the way that they're pushing Prime, the way Walmart's been pushing back, and all this stuff like that. Analysts predict that the shorter delivery times will lead to more frequent purchases and therefore higher revenue. But all of that spending is also cutting into Amazon's profit margins, resulting in lower than expected earnings. Amazon's net income of $2.6 billion was the lowest since the second quarter of last year, putting an end to a record profit streak of 4 straight quarters. The company forecast third quarter operating income of the range $2.1 billion to $3.1 billion, which is far lower than the FactSet estimates of $4.4 billion. Chief Financial Officer Brian Olsavsky said on Thursday's earnings call that the company spent slightly more than $800 million on its expansion plans this quarter. Quote, Q2's results were negatively impacted by the margin compression in North America due to the investments in next-day Prime delivery, which we continue to believe is an example of short-term pain for long-term gain, said Moody's Amazon analyst Charles O'Shea in an email statement. CEO Jeff Bezos also said in an earnings release that the change has resulted in, quote, a lot of positive feedback and, quote, accelerating sales growth. Free one-day delivery is now available to Prime members on more than 10 million items, and we're just getting started. Amazon Web Services, as I mentioned before, is one of its most lucrative businesses. Actually, I mentioned that between episodes of the podcast recording. But Amazon Web Services, very lucrative for Amazon, reported a 37% growth, trailing analysts' estimates and indicating that Microsoft is picking up steam. The growth in AWS, which provides computing and storage for corporations, schools, and government agencies, slipped from 41% in the previous quarter. Since we're an advertising agency, we also care a whole lot about online advertising, and a lot of that gets put into this other category along with a couple different things. But that other category, revenue climbed 37% to $3 billion. International sales grew 12% to $16.4 billion, which is down 27%. Physical stores, including Whole Foods, remained roughly flat at $4.3 billion in sales, but the company said it would have grown over 5% if they included home delivery and in-store pickup orders, both booked under online sales instead. So I guess that's a weird categorization thing. And then obviously they mentioned Amazon Prime Day, how it was super fantastic for them. I'm not going to get too much into that because we definitely talked about it on a previous episode. But to say the least, Amazon's third quarter revenue guidance of $66 billion to $70 billion exceeded street estimates of $67.3 billion. So they made $3 billion extra dollars due to Amazon Prime Day. So what do we think about this?
I mean, the only really thing I care about here is, they're increasingly important online ad business, which is not much. It's only 5% of their revenue. That's going to grow dramatically. I don't see any reason why their ad business, this is not at 10% of their revenue in a year from now. I don't think there's any question. Amazon right now, if you're in the e-commerce world or you're considering being in the e-commerce world, the way to kind of look at these numbers is they're creating their own ecosystem. And we've said in past podcasts, I wouldn't move all my money off Google. I still think people are obviously still looking at Google, but they're not. They are moving. Think about how everybody's shopping. You are going to Amazon first, or even Walmart. You're going there and looking there. Some people even, I'm seeing the rise of Target on some stuff. But they're creating their own ecosystem where it's basically, this is a perfect ecosystem that's built to go directly against Google. And their thing is, not only do we house all the products, not only can we ship all the products, not only can we have people create their own businesses within our virtual mall world, but now we have them advertise within our ecosystem. We don't need you anymore, Google. Now, you're going to have to retarget on Google properties. You still should be doing PLAs and so forth on Google AdWords. And you still obviously need to do retargeting across all social media platforms. But it's amazing to think that I think that if you are an e-commerce company and if you're selling stuff or you have an Amazon store, there is a tremendous opportunity right now for you to kick ass, stake a claim, and to really separate yourself from the competition by really putting a lot of ad dollars. So people, clients will ask me a lot, well, how would you balance it? Right now, to be honest with you, I'd probably go 35% Amazon. I probably would go 35% Google, and the rest of the way I would do retargeting and a mix of other types of stuff. I guess you could do retargeting and be included in the other stuff as well. Yeah, those numbers are very interesting. I understand that they're coming down a little bit and so forth, and there has been a buzz of, has Amazon hit a plateau? Have they hit a capitulation point? There is same-day delivery. Are they going to buy their own, delivery systems? They got drones. Okay, at the end of the day, you have all that stuff, and it's going to help make money. And you have almost every product in the world. Where can you make money? You can make your people in the Amazon world start bidding against each other, and that's where your revenue is going to come from. So if I'm an investor, and if I'm looking at stuff, and I own an advertising agency, and I just so happen to own an advertising agency, amazing.
How coincidental!
Yeah,
wow.
I am very interested in looking at that Amazon growth for marketing. I think it's very interesting. So, and I know there's a lot of ad agencies out there right now that just do Amazon pay-per-click. I would highly recommend working with an agency if you're in e-commerce that really focuses on Amazon. I think working with another agency that they do that, but it's not their main focus, is doing yourself a disservice. Go find an agency that does Amazon specific, and you'll save yourself a lot of money and a lot of headaches. So, but that's what I see. That's just kind of my 2 cents on Amazon when I'm looking at.
Well, I did think it was interesting that that Amazon pledged to spend $800 million in the second quarter improving warehouse delivery infrastructure, because I thought I remember seeing something on the news, I think it was last month, about how UPS has just recently upped their e-commerce shipping to something similar, if not better than Amazon's attempt at one-day shipping or next-day shipping. So I wonder, one, how much they were spending on improving their warehouse and delivery infrastructure previous quarters, but then two, how much they're pulling in this quarter with that $800 million to really accomplish that goal. I mean, obviously with Prime Day, they ship it out quick and they make all their money, but I know it's interesting because the revenue jumped up because it went down, and now they're spending so much of their money towards fixing the delivery. And we talked about how Walmart's trying to do their next day or even day of delivery, and they're always competing with Amazon for that. So I just thought that was something that was interesting.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think it's one of those, as they mentioned, at the end of the day, it's an operating cost. You need to do it, but you can't without improving all of the logistics and infrastructure that you have. They are just physically not going to be able to do one-day Prime shipping for nearly as many items as they definitely want to be doing it on. So as they mentioned, short-term pain, long-term gain. It makes complete sense. I'm sure we're going to be seeing some jumps in the next couple quarters as one day really becomes the hot ticket for people moving forward, basically. And I agree about everything you said about the online ad business specifically. I'm definitely expecting it to jump even more as we go in future quarters, especially since I don't remember if we covered this before the first earnings call or after the first earnings call, but we talked about the replacing of some static ads with video ads on Amazon platforms for mobile and things like that. So I think it really is a matter of getting the infrastructures in place and things like that, and then really just waiting to see how it all ends up playing out. But I agree with you. It's going to grow. I mean, it's 37% in a quarter is fantastic.
Oh yeah, I mean
it's great.
I mean, you're talking they're 5%, it's 10%, it's I'd be very interested in what Bezos' plan is with that to see what he wants that revenue cut to be, but nobody makes more money than the platforms that you can advertise on. I mean, think about it, nobody. And Amazon is saying to themselves, think about what they're building. Not only do they sell the product, but now you're going to have to advertise with their ecosystem. It's a great company. Amazon is a great company.
Well, that's all for today's episode of The Buyer's Journey. Check us out on Comexis.com, YouTube, and anywhere you get your podcasts, and follow us on Twitter at @buyers_journey. Thanks for listening.